And we should be good. Hello, everybody. Spider here, the Fight Car Podcast, coming to you from San Antonio, Texas. My guest, out of your vehicle, bro. Where are you, man?
I'm actually sitting in front of my barber shop. Have a haircut appointment here after a little while, and so figure just come hang out over here, and that way I don't get interrupted.
Man, you should have just done the episode where you're getting your haircut, bro. Hell.
Uh, that would have been unique, huh?
No, no, for sure, man. And bro, through the fight game, bro. I've known you for years. I mean, people that know Corpus, man, of course, know you. They know your team. I mean, who can forget you, man? But I mean, Rudy Valenzuela, bro. I mean, you've trained with a lot of great people. You're still training with a lot of good people. But my question to you, man, is because the whole weapons at hand, it exchanged hands. Of course, your instructor. I mean, he passed it down to you, man. But how did that go about, man?
Well, yeah, Stacy Jorgensen, he's who started Weapons at Hand, and he's actually who my first martial arts instructor, and I just training with him and staying loyal to the gym and all that, just got to a point where life was changing for him and he needed to focus on family and all that. And so that's kind of where I stepped in. It just kind of fell in my lap. It wasn't something like, as uh, like when I was younger and I was training and fighting, I kind of thought like, yeah, maybe later on down the road I could have my own gym type of thing. But I don't think that I ever thought like it would come to fruition. And then when this thing kind of fell in my lap, I still didn't think I was ready. Didn't, I didn't have the confidence to do it at all. And he told me I did, and he kind of like gave me that pep talk and that confidence to, you know, actually do it. And I'm glad he did because man, I couldn't see myself doing something else.
No, no. I mean, I can only imagine, bro. Because even I always ask people, like, if it wasn't for MMA, like, what would you be doing, man? I mean, you could have been a doctor or lawyer. Nobody wants to do that, man. Come on.
Yeah, nobody wants to have money to be able to spend and not worry about paying bills, right?
Be rich and miserable, man. I'd rather be working class and have a little stress, bro. That's what keeps me going.
Yeah,
But
that's what keeps me going too. So I appreciate it.
no, no, man. I've known you through the years, bro. I mean, always K side. I mean, you're fighters here in San Antonio, bro. I mean, half your team, you guys lived here, bro. I don't know why y'all didn't just move the team over here at that time, but you guys
Well,
were
it's
hit by.
kind of yeah, we're there. We're still there a lot, But my parents, my mom and my stepdad, they actually live over there in San Antonio,
Oh,
and
okay.
when we go for the fights, the fighters they'll have their hotel rooms or whatever, but usually I go and stay with my parents and
I
get
gotta,
that home.
I gotta ask, you take laundry over there to wash or no, bro?
No, no, I'm a self-sufficient man. I'm married and I actually wash my own clothes. I don't have my wife wash my clothes.
No, no, I'm with you, bro. I'm the dishwasher at home, man. I sweep, I mop. I mean, I'm like, you know what, man? I do what I can. I mean, mostly when I'm in trouble, but yeah, I do what I can, bro.
Well, if you stay in trouble, you can't get in trouble. So that's a good thing to remember.
That's for your coach, man. You think about these things, bro. But man, I mean, and I gotta bring this up, bro, because Kamikaze, was that your fighting name when you first started? How did you get that?
Yeah, actually, a friend of mine, my best friend, Lewis, he actually kind of gave me that name from the gym, and it was because of my eyes. They say I was Asian, and so they would kind of make fun of me about that. But that's kind of where it came from. But it also came a little bit from my fighting style because I was back then. I had some pretty quick hands, and so I would just let them fly because I knew I was faster than most people in the gym or when I would fight. So I just let them rip, and it just kind of had like that kamikaze style, like just go for it.
Man, just leave it out there, man. Leave it inside the cage or the boxing ring. Now, did you
Yeah.
ever compete inside a cage, or was this a boxing ring? 'Cause I know this back in the day.
So yeah, back in the day when I was training, MMA still wasn't even legal here in Texas. And so, a lot of the younger guys now they can't really wrap their heads around like you couldn't fight MMA because it wasn't legal in Texas. It really wasn't. And then
Oh yeah,
the first form of the legal MMA was the open palm strikes.
I'm crazy, yes sir.
Yeah. So, that was kind of the first form of it. And right around when that happened, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to start to do that. And then I injured my knee, and I didn't have health insurance or anything like that because I didn't have a salary like a doctor or a lawyer.
Bring that up. But man, I gotta say, because I remember like I started training here in the mixed martial arts back in 2000. I mean, my instructor who's still here, man, in San Antonio, man. I mean, it was Mike Rangel Valetudo,
Yeah.
and you guys used to train out there in South Texas, man, for Total Combat. I mean, we were out there with to Battle at the Beach. We'd be out there competing, man, and those were back in the day, like you said, open hand, bro. Like people were like, oh, y'all slapped each other, and I said, bro, let me hit you with an open hand palm strike, man. See how it feels, bro, because it hurt, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, was that pretty much when it started for you? Because I remember seeing your coach fighting back in the day. I mean, this was years back.
Yeah, so he actually fought, a lot of guys here local. Actually, one of the God rest his soul, Rob Villegas. They
Yeah.
had a couple of scraps, and they kind of had like a little city rivalry here because they were, they had each other their own gyms. So that was kind of like the start of that deal. But yeah, I was around for all that. I was just starting my training when that was going on. So I started late 1999, early 2000, and so yeah, the Battle of the Bay and all that type of stuff was right around when I very first started.
No, yeah, bro. And I remember, like, I mean, road trips. I think here in Texas, of course, I think it was Renegades, the promotion, man, that was actually they got the first cage, and I mean, everybody went crazy because everybody wanted to fight inside a cage, bro. But that was around the time, like you said, that they allowed, close fists. They allowed MMA gloves, and like you said, did I even tell people here now, and they're like, man, what are you talking about, bro? Like, that's how old I feel, man, because I always ask fighters, like, man, what fight was it that got you interested in the sport? And they always bring up the Ultimate Fighter. And I'm like, man, that was like 10 years later for me, bro. Like, I was already in the sport, but I'm glad, it brought him in here, man. But I gotta ask you, bro, because like I said, I mean, we've been, I've been cage side to a lot of your fights. You've had a lot of great fighters come through your gym. I mean, a lot of them, of course, moved on, with life, it happens. But who are some of the fighters that you remember? I'm sure all of them, but is there one that stands out more than the other?
Well, I mean, Elias, Smash Garcia, he's probably, the most known as far as my stable of fighters. I also had Marcus Huerta, had, Aaron Gomez back then, but he's now coming back and actually fighting for Fury. And so, yeah, those were my main stable of guys, and then we had a lot of amateurs, behind them.
No, and I mean, of course, the gym's still going, man. You still have a stable of fighters. I mean, you've added, some instructors to your gym since. I mean, of course, Roger Narvaez is out there, man. Who else is helping you with the academy?
Yeah, Patrick Ibata, he's another one of our generals. Uh, I remember seeing an interview with Greg Jackson, and he was talking about Genghis Khan and his philosophy on war, and he had generals around him that were smarter than him that could take over, and he didn't have to be the main guy. And so that kind of always stuck in my head, and I was like, man, I need to imply that I need to get guys that are smarter than me that I can learn off of, and not only benefit me, benefit the academy, benefit our fighters. And so we have Patrick Ibata, we have Roger Narvaez, and so we're pretty much like the three generals of the gym, and then we have assistant instructors behind them.
No, for sure, man. And like you said, because as a coach, I mean, people think, oh, okay, he knows it all. But I mean, you guys are still learning, man. The game is changing. I mean, you got to adapt and, utilize what you have and bring in more tools. But I mean, having Roger there and, Patrick, of course, I'm sure it helps, bro. Because I mean, that's a lot of experience, man.
A lot of experience, and not only that, just different philosophies where we can mold them and be better coaches for our fighters.
You see, and one of the best things about it, man, is that I'm sure you don't have to be there every day, right?
Yeah, I don't have to be there every day. I don't have to micromanage. I don't have to, do all that. I can live life when I need to live life, and then also be there when I need to be there. So
You see, and that's one of the things that I realized after a few years, man, is you kind of have to, because even gyms here, we have I'll throw names out there, but I mean, Ray the Judge just opened his academy, and he's got people under him, and it makes sense, man, because now you're married, I mean, a lot of people married have kids, some just have cats, no judgment there, but
yeah,
but yeah, you want to have that free time to get away, and if you have something, you got to make the wife happy, man. So of course you got to get away for a few days, right?
Definitely got to make the wife happy for sure.
No, man. And let me ask you, bro. I mean, talking about evolving. I mean, of course, you've trained with a lot of great people, man. I mean, one of them being in Milwaukee, man. Tell us about that.
Yeah, Duke Rufus. That's been a big blessing and a big training experience as far as learning from him, not only technique but philosophy. And yeah, that started with Elias. He was wanting to expand his game, and so he was thinking about going. Back then was Black Zillions, American Top Team, Greg Jackson's Alpha Male, and then Milwaukee, which is Rufus Sport. And so he had contacted a bunch of those gyms wanting to go out and train for like a week. I want to say it was for the fight when he was going to fight Henry Cejudo.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, and so he did that, and we just, we talked about all the places, and after he contacted them and who we thought might be best for him and for us, and we boiled it down to Rufus Sport, and he I remember when he messaged them that they already knew who he was, and so that was kind of a selling point. And it was like, oh, they already know who he is. Let's just go ahead and go there.
Yeah, and there was a crazy thing about it because I think it was Anthony Petit's cousin was named Elias Garcia, right? They had the same name.
They have a cousin, Sergio and Anthony Pettis, their cousin Elias Garcia, and
Oh, man.
so they
It's
would
like,
always say that our Elias or their Elias was getting confused with our Elias.
bro, you see, and when I saw that, I was like, man, I saw his the other guy's page, and I was like, dude, what the hell's going on? But I was like, that's one of those you'll never see, man. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah,
But man,
yeah.
as far as a coach, man, I mean, what is it that keeps you going, man? Motivated? I know you get days off from work now, but I mean, back then, I mean, what was your motivation to keep going?
It's just the passion for martial arts, really, and evolving and learning and teaching and producing and living, kind of, I guess, vicariously through my fighters. I'm not competing anymore, so living through them was a little bit of it also.
No, for sure, man. And of course, I mean, as far as like you said, Aaron Gomez came back. I mean, he's competing again. Who are some of the amateur fighters that people need to look out for, man?
Amateur fighters, man, we got a stable of them, and they're some hard nosed fighters. We got Cole Knapp, we got Emmanuel Garcia, we got Little Marina Robles, who's I guess doing your fight blogs now.
Yeah, bro, I had to hire her, man. I told her I'd pay her and free parking when she comes here, and hey, free water, bro.
Yeah, so yeah, her Marina Robles, but now we got a couple of some fresh blood. Chris Baker, who's going to be fighting actually this Saturday, and then Eddie Ortiz. He's fought before. He actually trained with Rob Villegas in their gym, and that's who he came from. And now he's with us, and he's had a long layoff, and now he's coming back, stepping back into the cage this Saturday.
Oh no, yeah, man. And of course, I mean, this Saturday, man, it's going to be in Kingsville, Texas, which is it's like 30 minutes away from you guys in Corpus.
Yeah, it's like 45-minute drive, so not too bad.
And of course, it's going to be for the Texas Clash promotion, man. So I mean, what can people expect from your fighters come fight night, man?
Well, Chris Baker, I mean, he's a fireball, man. He's gonna come out there and he's gonna let his hands rip, and I think a lot of people are gonna be really surprised at him. He's fought in the boxing circuit here, Golden Gloves, things like that. He's had a little bit of a rough time finding fights boxing wise, and so now we're just gonna turn him loose for the MMA scene.
No, no, for sure, man. And I mean, I had one of your fighters' opponents in the studio earlier, man. And I mean, it's gonna. The thing about mixed martial arts, especially, bro. I mean, somebody's got to win and somebody's got to lose. I mean, being an amateur bout, I mean, of course, it's the experience. But I mean, as a coach, man, what does it take for somebody to sign up and say, okay, I want to fight? Like, what do you expect from these guys or women, men and women?
Yeah. Like Marina, when she first showed up at the gym, she said that she wanted to fight, and I think she was kind of doubting her age. And I was like, you're still a young lady, you still can do this thing. And I don't ever like want to shut anybody's dreams down when they say, "Oh, I want to fight." But somewhere there, a little bit in the back of my head, I'm like, "Are you really going to do this?" Because I've heard it time and time again. But it's always a good feeling when they actually get in there, they dedicate themselves to the craft, and they actually follow through with what they said they wanted to do. So.
Oh, definitely, man. And I'm sure, I mean, there's a lot of stress that comes with it, man, as a coach, just accountability and everything that comes with it. But if you're willing to sacrifice, I mean, your students should do the same, right? Especially the ones that want to compete.
Definitely, it takes sacrifice, and when people come to the gym and they say, "Oh, I want to fight." Okay, you want to fight? Well, you're gonna have to, train first, and then when it does come down to, okay, we feel like you're ready. Now the sacrifice is really gonna take place. The dedication, you're gonna have to show it. With my guys there, the way I work it with my fighters is, I need to see that they're doing everything they need to do and doing more, and then I'll show them, give them my time as far as private lessons or pad work and things like that. Show me that you're really dedicated to this thing, and then I'll sacrifice for you as well.
No, no, for sure, man. I mean, because I mean, it's throughout the years, like you said, man, all the time that you spent, coaching and teaching. I mean, people go to medical school and they become doctors. Like I said earlier, man. So it's a lot of commitment. It's an investment within itself, and obviously, it's been a good one for you, man. Because I'm sure you've had your ups and downs, but I mean, for the most part, man, you've been enjoying this, right?
Oh yeah, I've enjoyed the whole way through, all the ups and the downs, but um, the downs are what motivate me to be better, and so I feel like it's only impacted our gym and our students and everything all around positively.
No, for sure, bro. Now, I mean, I'm gonna plug in your school, of course, man. Weapon at Hands. I'll put the information on the YouTube. But as far as what people can expect from going into the gym, because you don't have to be a fighter to train there, right? I mean, there's for health, fitness, and
Yeah, so that was kind of a moniker that we got stuck with there for a while, that we were kind of like only a fight gym, and it kind of hurt us, a little bit financially, because one of the things it said is like, fighters don't pay the bills. It's the everyday average Joe that comes in and wants to work out, our kids program and all that type of stuff, the women's program, that's what really pays our bills, and then our fighters and going for fights and them training and all that, that's the fun stuff for us, but it's not really the money making stuff.
right, right. No, for sure, man. Because even people know, even when they go pro, man, it's still an uphill battle. Getting sponsors, of course, helps. But I mean, you got a couple of sponsor as far as professional fighters in your stable, man. And of course, one of them I want you to bring up is Peter Caballero, man. I mean, this guy's like the Iron Man, bro. What's going on with that guy? What are you feeding him, bro?
Yeah, nothing but deer meat apparently is what he's been eating.
Oh yeah, because the guy's been active, man. I mean, he's been going back and forth from boxing to MMA, and of course, I mean, being the coach, I mean, with amateur fighters, man, would you be okay, or have you been okay with that, with them actually transitioning back and forth?
um with the amateur fighters, it's a little different, but we try to make sure that we have their best interests at heart, doing things like that. For the pro fighters, like Elias, I mean, not like Elias, I mean like Peter, we also got to take care of him too. But he's at a point where, I had mentioned, we were talking about how many fights he's had and all that, and I counted him down, and I think he was like 26 or 27 total fights, amateur and pro. And I said, dude, you're a vet of the sport now. And he's like, what? He's kind of like wide eyed, like, nah, I don't think so. And I was like, dude, you're right on the brink of 30 fights. That's considered a vet. And
Yeah.
so he's also taking on the role of being kind of like an assistant coach, with our amateur fighters, and making sure that they're falling in line and doing the things that they need to do. And so he's just setting the example for them.
No, for sure, man. And that's one of the things that I'm sure you've been doing too, leading by example, because I mean, you've done your time where, you have to clean the mats and sweep and mop, not let them do it, right? It's part of the training.
Well,
Tell them.
yeah, it's part of that, but I still sweep and mop the mats, and I still get in there and I still get my hands dirty. But when I was in the working class and I had a job, and I was a manager of the YWCA, I would still get in there and get my hands dirty, and I'd go and I'd clean the pools and I clean the whirlpool and I clean the gym and equipment and vacuum and mop and all types of stuff. So I'm kind of that type where, I'm gonna get in there and get my hands dirty too. So.
No, no, for sure, man. Because and let me ask you, bro, when it came to teaching, because of course, like you said, when the gym was passed down to you, I mean, you weren't, I guess, confident. You didn't have the confidence that you have now. But was there a time where you were still training that your coach was like, hey, you know what, I want you to start teaching the class?
Well, that's kind of how it happened. Is actually like 6 months into me training, Stacy asked me if I would start helping to teach our kickboxing class, the cardio kickboxing class. So that was 6 months into training. I was already starting to teach, and then I had also started doing jujitsu with the Aurelio Gallegos, which back then was Paragon and now it's Pressa. And back then he was a blue belt. When I was training with him, there was no black belts or purple belts or brown belts, nothing like that. That's how far back, the training went. Is there was only blue belts here in Corpus, and so me doing that jujitsu training, I was kind of like the the grappling guy there in the gym at Weapons at Hand, and so then Stacy started asking me to help with the grappling classes, and so it just kind of steadily just got me going into that direction.
No, for sure. And the reason I asked is because myself too, man. When I started, back in 2000, weekend, one Saturday, I went in there. I was already maybe like 8 months in, but my instructor was like, "Hey, you want to teach?" It was like three new guys that showed up. I was like, "Yeah, cool, man." I was thinking assistant instructor, right? And he says, "I was like, yeah, I'll teach." And he says, "Okay, well, here, lock up." And he takes off, man. And I was like, "Oh, crap, dude!" So I was thrown in the fire, man. But it taught me a lot within itself, man, because I mean, once you start teaching, and I'm sure you agree with this, man, you start learning a lot more because you start seeing things that you don't when you're the student. So I mean,
Yeah,
they help.
that helps a lot. And I actually at one point Peter, he was helping me teach the kids class, so he had to kind of dummy down and learn, like, go back to the very very basics in order to show these kids. And in doing that, it helps you, with your basics. Like, oh man, I forget I need to be doing this also.
You see, and that's one of the things that I realized too, man, because I mean, it's just like going to a seminar. I would go and like I would pick up two or three techniques out of the whole seminar because I mean, they teach arm bars, they teach transitions, but it was like the little details that I'm like, oh man, the whole time I could have had that hook in or I could have, but I mean, these are things that you see outside the box, but yeah, so that part of the learning process, and I'm pretty sure that's why instructors kind of do that, man. I mean, even here, they put them through the kids class. They when they're months in, they put them with the adults, and I mean that's how you learn.
Yeah, for sure.
And now let me ask you, bro, as far as a coach, man, I mean, you say you learn off your the other generals that are out there at the weapons at hand, man. But I mean, what else motivates you to kind of keep learning? I mean, do you still kind of look at other people teach, whether it's Rufus or other coaches out there in the fight game, and you're kind of like, okay, you know what, you pick up little things here and there.
Oh, all the time. Like, especially like watching fights on the weekend, hearing coaches' advice, hearing them while the fights are going on, but then also hearing them, in the corners, learning from that, learning how to deal with different fighters, as far as like in the corner is concerned. And then, everything's kind of at our fingertips now, as far as with YouTube and Instagram and all that type of stuff. So seeing the techniques and watching videos, watching documentaries and learning from those types of things, that's always something that kind of on my free time I'm looking at and trying to learn from.
No, you see, and that's one of the things when I had my guest in the studio earlier, I was telling them, man, I said, dude, I mean, back then we had a computer, but I mean, you couldn't look up MMA because the term didn't exist, but I would try to look up fights and pre-fights, and it was always like backyard, backyard fights or whatever, man. But I mean, you couldn't
Yeah.
find that. And now, like you said, it's everywhere, bro. I mean, now it's like easy access.
Yeah, that's what this whole social media world has got us into now.
Man, but bro, I mean, I wanted to make this short and sweet, man. I've already taken about 25 minutes of your time. I know you're gonna get your hair cut, but I'm gonna be there courtside, bro, this Saturday. So I hope to see you again, man, and we'll keep the conversation going, man.
Yeah, for sure. I'll get up there in the studio and we can do it live, and hopefully I can
No,
get Elias and get him some free time so we can go up there together and do it.
definitely, man. I might get banned. The YouTube might get closed after that episode, man. But it's worth it, bro.
Yeah, yeah. No, it'll be good.
But man, don't hang up yet, bro. Of course, everybody out there, this is Spida, the Fight Card Podcast. Till next time, follow up.